there was one of the top female entrepreneurs in the world. One of the top female businesswomen in the world was being interviewed. I watched this years ago. And this is when I was studying data on businesses and presentations. And this woman has her own business industry worth millions, maybe even more than millions. And she was talking about giving presentations on stage. And I don't know why I'm talking about that. I'm talking about this because of those effects that are available in Zoom. But she was saying that the women spend as much time preparing their appearance as they do preparing the details of their presentation, on average. Now, I don't know if this is true because I don't know about all women. I don't know, you know, I don't know what other people do with their time a lot of the time. So, but it was really, really interesting because she was talking about the fact that she knows, or she feels, I don't know which it is, that when she gives a presentation that other women, not men, other women are looking at her hair, her makeup, her dress, and her shoes when she gives a presentation.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is really strange. Yeah, because if you are wise and intelligent, hopefully, and we're all remember we're all taught not to judge a person by the way that they look, right? We're all told at school, remember, it's what's inside that counts for a person. Never judge a book by its cover, right? But it's a nice idea, but in many ways you have to judge a book by its cover because that's how you are attracted to the book a lot of the time and pick up the book. You judge a book by its cover. You judge the architect by the quality of product produced, which is most often in visual representation.
Mm.
Yeah. The athlete, very often you can judge by their physique. You can see, oh, that person's a runner, or that person's a weightlifter, or something. You know, they develop on the outside what they train on the inside. And so I think it's a bad sign that people are more focused or as focused on what people wear as they are the content of their speech, which is what Martin Luther King, the famous Black American activist, said. You know, when he said society will only progress, the world will only progress when we judge people by their character and not how they appear. Which is what is wrong with all this Black Lives Matter, because that's a focus on color, not a focus on character. And that will always cause people to focus on the wrong thing. They'll focus on only what they see rather than the depth beyond that. So it's interesting that Zoom has those features to improve the quality of how we look, but you know, how you look is how you look. There was a story on that I saw on the news yesterday about famous supermodel not seen in 5 years. It's a very strange story. But I was attracted to the story because it was a story about plastic surgery.
Mm.
It was a story about a famous model who had plastic surgery to make herself look even more beautiful, which is just stupid. I mean, the only reason for plastic surgery is if you have some deformity or some sickness or some illness, or maybe you're born in some strange way, and maybe the plastic surgery can help you with leading a better quality of life.
Mm.
That's a good reason for it. Healthy, normal people should not be going down that road, because it's a sign of, because we all know that if we focus on trying to be perfect, we'll fail, because perfection is sort of evolution. Yeah.
Mm.
It's evolving. It's there's always something we can improve somewhere. There's always something that we can get better with. There's always, and then focus on one thing is focus on away from another, and you can't do everything. And so perfection is more of a rolling goal of changing situations than it is any one thing. And it was just an interesting story that she ruined her life. This model ruined her life because she had bad plastic surgery, and it's just like she didn't go outside for 5 years and face the world. And it's yeah. How beautiful is beautiful? When are we going to be beautiful? When are we going to be beautiful enough? Or probably not. So we gotta like ourselves as who we are, and aim for slow progress of gradual improvement. And if we can do that, then that's pretty cool. Just as another note on that, I don't know why I'm on this topic, but I had this girl that I was teaching once, and she broke down crying in tears in my office. And she broke down because she was very unhappy that she didn't get better results at university, because there's a lot of pressure on young people. Society puts pressure on them, teachers put pressure on them, friends put pressure on them, we put pressure on ourselves, families put pressure on. There's a lot of pressure on young people, to the point where, did you know the number one cause of death in teenagers in Ireland? The number one cause of death in teenagers in Ireland is suicide. Suicide is the number one cause of death. This is the society that we've created, right? This is the world that we've created. It's a great Queen song about that, no? Is this the world that we created? We made it on our own. Anyway, back to my childhood. But what's the point? Oh, this girl in my office, right? So she's in tears because, like, she only got like a B at university, and she wanted an A, and everybody else wanted her to get. She only got a B, and so she passed her exams, but she was very unhappy. And I said to her, this is what we all know. It's not where you are, it's how far you've come. It's never, the success is never about where you are. It's about how far you have traveled. Always, it's always success is always a measure of the past against the present. It's never the point of where we are. Because if you're really smart and really intelligent, getting an A in your university is not difficult. It's really not difficult. It's not difficult to get an A if you're smart and intelligent, if you've got all the resources, if you've got all the family support, if you've got access to private tutors and information, and you have a history of success. It's not difficult to get an A. It might not be the easiest thing in the world, but I can tell you for some people, it's a lot easier than for other people. Yeah. And so we always need to measure things on how far we've come, which is, you know, moving from a child moving from lower income family to middle class income family is a greater move than being born into money and staying in money, right? Yeah, how we move through our lives is the measurement of success. And we also forget about that with children as well, because we teach children to measure themselves against other children. What are sports events? Measuring yourself against other children. What are report cards? What are school grades? What's the first thing that children do when they get their grades? They find out what other people got and they compare. That's the first thing they do. It's the very first, it's the single most important thing for them. It's the very first. They don't take the report card and run to their parents and show them the report. They instantly compare, which is a giant mistake. And the system knows that. The system knows that's a giant mistake, because the only person you need to compare yourself to is who you were yesterday.
Mm.
You don't need to worry much about anything else, because if the individual person progresses and advances, so everybody around them must progress and advance as well. And this is the way that we move forward, which again is a problem within companies. Because if the individual within the organization cannot progress, there's absolutely no way that the organization can progress.
Mm.
There's absolutely no way the organization can move forward. Yeah. And organizations still have that misunderstanding where what frustrates me, what gets on my nerves, is organizations treating people like children, creating all these rules, because if we don't have all these rules in place, bad things will happen. Well, that's a lack of trust. That's saying we can't trust the people. We can't trust the people that we employed. If you can't trust the people that you employed, that means that you can't trust yourself. Right? It means you can't trust yourself. And that's a very strange situation to be in fear of your own decisions. And you will always fear, the parent that tells the child not to do something, and maybe the parent is right, but the parent who tells the child not to do something is the parent who has a fear, not the child who has a fear. It's the parent who has a fear, and they then pass that fear on to their children. And what we now have is not just nanny state governments, but nanny state companies who are not allowing their employees to progress and explore and work in a way that is necessary. But as the Bible tells us, everything turns to dust in the end. Right? That's the value of everything. It all turns to dust in the end. So we've got to realize that there's a process of ups and downs. Let's